This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, Janardhan, Anil, Satish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see the LVM practical. What is volume manager? It's a software to group more than one physical disk. Using volume manager, we can increase the storage capacity online by combining all the physical disks. Using volume manager, we can write the data on multiple disks or multiple partitions. Data will span across the disk. Using volume manager, we can increase the file system size dynamically online with no loss of data and performance. Using volume manager, we can overcome the physical disk limitations. All this we discussed yesterday. LVM commands. PV create to create physical volume. PV display physical volume. PV remove to remove the physical volume. PVS to list all the physical volume. PV scan to scan all the physical volumes. To manage the volume group, commands to manage the volume group: VG create, VG display, VG extend, VG reduce, VGS, VG scan, VG remove. Like classical volumes: LV create, LV display, LV extend, LV reduce, LV remove, LVS, LV scan, and resize TFS. Right. Discuss these commands one by one practically. Now, tomorrow, when you log into the Linux box, Linux server, and you type df-h, generally, LVM can be configured during installation. LVM can also be configured later after installation. Later after installation. What do you prefer? Configuration of LVM during installation or after installation? So this is the output of df-h. It is configured later after installation. Why? Because my operating system, where operating system resides under slash boot, under root, root and slash root, these are called standard partitions. There are two types of partitions: standard partitions and LVM partitions. These are comes under LVM partitions. So I install first operating system with standard partition. Later I configure LVM. So this is the, by seeing the output like this, we'll come to know that LVM is configured later after installation. What is the problem if I configure LVM later after installation? For example, tomorrow slash OPT file system is full. Because it is under LVM control, I can increase the size online. Slash home is slash home file system is full. We can increase online. Why? Because it is under LVM control. But whereas the root file system not under LVM. It is standard partition, physical partition. When this file system is 100% full, we can't increase the size. Shut down the server to single user mode, maintenance mode, remove unwanted data. Before that, take the backup. Take the backup, remove unwanted data. That is called downtime to the application, downtime to the end user. The main concept of LVM is to give the zero downtime to the application. But where is zero downtime? So that's why LVM we never configured later after installation. LVM is always configured during installation. When we configure LVM during installation, we'll see the output like this: // mapper. Mapper is a volume group name LV underscore ESR mounted on /ESR /mapper slash LV underscore root mounted on root partition LV underscore home. So whenever you found the output like this, where root file system is under LVM control, root file system is under LVM control. So tomorrow root file system is full /ESR file system is full. We can increase the size online. So this is the output of LVM if I configure LVM during installation. The real time LVM is always configured during installation. How to configure LVM during installation? Take all options are default. Default is auto layout, auto partition. If you select auto partition, that is called default. In auto partition, LVM by default configured. But make sure that /boot cannot be under LVM. /boot must be always a physical partition, standard partition. It cannot be under LVM. Why the condition? Why? Because to install the operating system, at least I required one physical partition. We discussed earlier before we install the operating system. Disk management. At least we require one physical partition. Without physical partition, we cannot install operating system. Operating system cannot install in logical volume, logical partition. We need physical partition. Right. So while configuration of LVM during installation, /boot partition cannot be under LVM. It should be always a physical partition and parameters partition. The creation of LVM, how to configure LVM after installation. We are not discussing during installation. This is after installation. Why we are discussing after installation? Why when we never use in the real time to understand where to use these commands, how to use these commands. So create you have by default you have only one hard disk. In a laptop you have only one hard disk. So create the file systems SDA6, SDA7, SDA8, SDA9 with the size of 1 GB, 2 GB, 2 GB and 1 GB. For file system with any amount of the size. Because I have only one hard disk, I am taking this file system from the first disk. Whereas in the real time, we'll always take the file system from different disks, not from the same disk. You know, after the creating the file system with this command, we have to update the kernel by using part to check that kernel is updated or not. Run the command cat/proc/partitions. Now, after creating the file system, do not format it. Do not format this file system. Run the command pvcreate. What is pvcreate? To create physical volumes. pvcreate to create the physical volumes. What is the physical volumes are? SDA6, SDA7, SDA8, SDA9. We can write all in floor brackets at a time. Next, to view the physical volumes, the command is pvdisplay. pvdisplay//SDA6 or pvdisplay//SDA7. Instead of specifying the file system name, run the command pvscan. Pvscan scan all the physical volumes or pvs list all the physical volumes with the size. The physical volumes are created. Next, create a volume group. What is the command? vg create. What is the name of the volume group? vg00. Name of the volume group or user defined. What are the physical volumes we're adding? HDA6, HDA7, HD8. What is size of HDA6? 1 GB, 2 GB, 2 GB. So what is my volume group size? 5 GB. My volume group size is 5 GB. We can see that VG display. We can see the size of the volume group, or use VG scan or VGS. VG scan or VGS to see the size of the volume group. Once volume group is created, we can create a logical volume. For the command LV create. What is the volume group size? 5 GB. I'm going to take 2 GB from the volume group, or you can take 3 GB from the volume group. Do you have any file system with 3 GB? No, right? You can take 3 GB from the volume group. Name of the volume, from which volume group you are taking, name of the volume group, hyphen n, name of the logical volume. My name of the logical volume is LV00. We can define whichever you want, name of the logical volume. So logical volume is created with 2 GB. To view the logical volumes information, LV display, or we can use LV scan, LVS. LV scan, LVS to see all logical volumes. The logical volume is created. Once logical volume is created, format the logical volume. Remaining same, format it, then mount it. When you type, when you mount the logical volume with mount command, that is temporary. It is not permanent. For permanent mounting, update fstop file. Update fstop file for permanent mounting. So // VG00 LV00 logical volume mount point Oracle file system type EST3. This you are aware of, right? How to update fstop. Now type df-h. We'll see that logical volume LV00 mounted on Oracle. What is the size of this logical volume? 2 GB. The logical volume size is 2 GB. Copy some files to the logical volume using cp command. The files I am copying from etc directory, password, shadow, group, host, where to the mount point, Oracle. Where these files are going to copy in logical volume. To increase the size of the logical volume, tomorrow my logical volume is 100% full. I want to add more disk space. Then what is the command? LV extend. What is the size of logical volume? Volume group 5 GB. From 5 GB, 2 GB is used. 3 GB is available free space. So that free space we can add to the logical volume by using LV extend -capital L, the size of the logical volume, and logical volume name. After this, to update the kernel, run the command research tfs. What is research tfs? It updates the logical volume online. The size, which is 1 GB, is added to the logical volume. It is not formatted. This command format this 1 GB and update the logical volume. You can see df-h. We can see the size now 3 GB. Earlier it was 2 GB. 1 GB is added. You can see 3 GB. Did I unmount this logical volume? Did I taken the backup of this logical volume? No, right? Online we can increase the volume size. We can see with LV display or LVS or LV scan to see the logical volume size. Checking the files in the logical volume, ls oracle. What I told you, without loss of data, we are able to increase the logical volume size. Earlier I copied some files to this oracle mount point, nothing but LV00. The same data I am able to see after increase the logical volume. No data loss. Decrease the volume, logical volume size. While increasing 100%, no data loss. While decreasing, there might be chances of losing the data. In the real time, our job is not to decrease, only increase. They won't ask you to decrease the logical volume. Even AWS Cloud, EBS volumes, our job is only to increase, not to decrease. So there is no online decreasing. unmount the logical volume. How much size you want to reduce? Research TFS, specify the size, then run etfsck file system check. Again run the command research TFS LV reduce -L 2GB. I just given the steps, but this we never use in the real time. If you want, you can check it. Right. So tomorrow there is no free space in the volume group. We created SDA6, SDA7, SDA8, SDA9, but SDA9 I didn't add in the volume group. Now I'm adding this SDA9 to the volume group to increase my volume group size. Why do you want to increase the volume group size? There is no free space left in the volume group to increase the logical volume. No free space left in the volume group to create a new logical volume. So what is your job? You have to add new disk to the volume. VG display, VGS same. Decrease the volume group size. For the command VG reduce. Which disk you want to remove? Specify the disk name. It is going to remove that physical disk from the volume. To unconfigure LVM, unmount all logical volumes, remove the logical volumes, remove the volume groups, and remove the physical volume. So U mount, unmount it, LV remove logical volume, VG remove volume group, and PV remove physical volume. PV remove physical volume. This is how to set up, how to configure, and how to unconfigure. I think I don't have Linux with standard partition. It is not standard partition, LVM partitions. //SDA1 mounted on /boot. /boot always physical partition, standard partition, first partition after the zero sector. Where root is created under /mapper volume group underscore LV underscore root. LV underscore root name of the logical volume mounted on root partition. The meaning of this, your operating system is installed with LVM. So I don't have Linux with standard partition. Mm. I have to install Linux with standard partition. I don't have standard, all are installed with LVM. Custom advanced next install operating system later. Next, next, next. NVMe is a new type of the disk. Earlier we used to use KG SATA. I don't know what this NVMe. So recommended. Let's see. Next. Create a new virtual disk. Next. Size. I'm going to take 30 GB. Click on next. 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 Edit virtual machine. CD DVD. Use as image. Browse. So default is automatically partition. This is the installation of OS with LVM. That is default. You have to go for custom. Custom. Done. You see default is LVM. You have to select standard partition. Select standard partition. Click on plus symbol. slash boot add mount point. Click on plus symbol, root, size. I'm going to give 6 GB. Add mount point. Slash user 7 GB. Add mount point. Click on swap. Size double of the RAM or equal to the RAM 4 GB. Add mount point. Now you have 13 GB free space. This is called extended. What is extended free space? So this free space we can use later after installation. So click on done. Click on accept changes. What is the error? Now click on begin installation. This is how to install the OS with standard partition. Okay, it will take some time. We'll see the practical tomorrow.